die. No remorse, not a drop in eye. With the still light pose and a frozen mind. You stop believing, it stops my breathing. I can suffocate at the sound of by. Stop backsliding, you've got to wait. Don't you hear me? I'm sounding all alarms. Don't touch that door. Don't you know you'll break me all over and over again? Stop backsliding, you've got to wait. Don't you hear me? I'm sounding all alarms. Don't touch that door. Don't you know you'll break me all over and over again? Stop backsliding, you've got to wait. Don't you hear me? I'm sounding all alarms. Don't touch that door. Don't you know you'll break me all over and over again? I'm going eastbound. I'm going eastbound, right to the dark, yeah. I won't chase the sun down. I head for the door. Unlimited power!
Hello, 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 ladies and gentlemen. It is your boy HMK once again, and I'd like to welcome y'all back into the fifth dimension. We are here on the heels of what has been one of the best Nintendo Directs, in my opinion, in which we had tons of reveals, tons of secrets, tons of awesome information, ending off with The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and so many new avenues of information when it comes to the game that is indeed releasing this May. No delays. May delay. Anyways, we are here with a Power Pack show where we have multiple awesome guests. Some of them new, some of them returning to the fifth dimension. Let's go off the rails and introduce them one by one. Everyone, please welcome, first off, ForestMinish. How are you doing today?
Hello! Oh my gosh, let's talk about that Zelda. I am so ready. My name's Rebecca, also known as ForestMinish. I stream on Twitch. I talk a lot about Zelda and other Nintendo games on Twitter. I write for Twinfinite. I love Zelda. I can't wait to talk about it.
Oh, I can't wait to talk about it too, and it's so glad to finally have you on the show.
Oh, I'm excited too. Thank you so much for thinking of me.
Oh, of course. And another new addition to the cast of the Fifth Dimension, entering for the first time. Everyone, please welcome NintendoFanGirl. How are you doing today?
Amazing! Thank you for having me. I'm NintendoFanGirl, and a little known fact, on the Insider forums, my username used to be Zelda Master 101. So yeah, I'm a long time Zelda fan, but obviously a huge Nintendo fan in general. I'm so excited to talk everything Nintendo Direct.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Of course. I'm so glad they're here. Oh, we're gonna be talking about a lot of stuff. We were going off the rails a little bit, ladies and gentlemen, before the show started, but we're gonna truly dive on deep. And of course, ending off the cast for today, another returning member of the Fifth Dimension. Everyone, please welcome PhillyBeatzU. How you doing today?
What's up? PhillyBeatzU over here. Zelda tuber. You know what I'm saying? Just studied the whole timeline for 48 hours straight. Just being a top tier Zelda fan.
A top tier Zuber.
He really did.
Nah, I believe it. I believe it. With that setup, he's jacked in completely. He's just ready, clutching the chair, just okay, I need to integrate every ounce of Zelda lore for Tears of the Kingdom. But here's hoping that Tears of the Kingdom actually, tackles the Zelda lore in a more cohesive way beyond that of what Breath of the Wild did. Now, let's begin the Fifth Dimension. I'm going to throw the ball over to ForestMinish first. Let's talk about, we're going to be talking about the Nintendo Direct, but first and foremost, the elephant in the room. Let's talk about Tears of the Kingdom. This is going to be the first question for everyone here at the table. What was your favorite part when it comes to either the trailer or anything, when they show off the collector's edition, the amiibo? What was your favorite part of Tears of the Kingdom at the Direct?
Oh my gosh, when they showed Link reaching his arm down to try to grab Zelda as she's falling down, because the very first shot that we got, really not the first shot, but the first trailer, we saw Zelda falling kind of from Link's perspective, and now we got to see it that Link is actually trying to reach her, and I guess he doesn't. I don't know. I gasped during that part. I think just this was such a cool trailer. I love how they're not revealing too much, but they're still showing us new things. But that shot, I just I screamed.
Yo, same guys. I'm so tired of getting my heart broken by these Zelda trailers now, because I feel this trend started with Skyward Sword when they showed Zelda being consumed in Link's dream by the Imprison. I'm okay, nah, I didn't need to see that. Come on, why you gotta be messing with my feelings? And then in the Breath of the Wild trailer, the one in the Nintendo Switch presentation, where we finally get to see Zelda's face, and then we see her, cry screaming in the forest into Link's arm. I'm come on. And now this, I'm yo, can't we be happy? Can't Zelda be happy for 2 seconds?
She can't catch a break.
Hopefully we'll get to see more happiness in Tears of the Kingdom at one point in the game, because I don't know about y'all.
Tears of the Kingdom.
It's not
Tears of the Kingdom. It's not Tears of the Princess. But no, I honestly think, it's funny because segueing off that bit for a little bit, a lot of people is I don't know, Tears of the Kingdom, it's not gonna be dark, it's gonna be eaten and up. Nah, man, it's not gonna be dark. It's not gonna be dark. And then after that last trailer, I'm yo, can't you see Hyrule is on fire?
Yeah,
literally. I'm that's not a joke. That's not a bit. And now we have no idea what happened to Zelda. I feel something's gonna happen to her, but she's gonna retain the ability to communicate with you. So a lot of people's been playing around with the idea of Zelda dying. I'm playing around with the idea of Zelda captured, and hopefully we'll get to see more of her in Tears of the Kingdom than we did in Breath of the Wild, because a lot of people, I mean, it's Zelda. Like, a lot of people are huge fans of Zelda as a game and as a character. So here's hoping that her fate is not going to be that of, something bad for most of the game. But let's throw the ball over to NintendoFanGirl. What was your favorite part of Tears of the Kingdom at Nintendo Direct?
There's so many things to choose from, but for me, I think it was the new male voiceover that we got. And all those dialogue lines.
Yeah.
I mean, because like that gave us, first of all, it sounded fantastic, but that gave us like probably the strongest glimpse into what's happening story-wise that we've gotten at this point.
Right? Because a lot of people have been like, Tears of the Kingdom, what can that mean? Remember that? You guys were there. I mean, we all were there when people were like, what if it means Tears of the Kingdom? I'm like, oh my goodness.
What if?
What if? It's like, yeah, man, the droplet, sound and effect when the logo came in definitely didn't mean anything like a teardrop falling into a pool of water or something. Nah, it's something Tears of the Kingdom because the kingdom's getting torn up. No, it's Tears of the Kingdom. And way back when, Bill Trinan said that Tears of the Kingdom, or the subtitle for Breath of the Wild 2, was going to be a little bit of a spoiler. When they revealed it, I'm like, okay, so where's the spoiler? Like, I'm
right. I had the same feeling. I have thoughts on it now, but
yeah, now we do.
Definitely have thoughts on it. Definitely.
But it's looking like, yeah, that kingdom is definitely going to be crying. And then, like, it kind of insinuates the idea of, either the land or the kingdom in itself, like, to be alive. Because, I mean, a lot of people aren't talking about this idea in which both Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom both deal with a bodily function in relation to a non-body persona. Like, Breath of the Wild, the wild being the world we're exploring, and then we're experiencing its breath by going through this open air adventure. And then they do literally the same thing for Tears of the Kingdom. this kingdom shedding tears for what's more likely Ganondorf giving it and its people the business. So, I'm so happy with this voice. And to segue off that before I throw the ball over to Philly, so there's another question within a question, so a sub question about that voiceover, because obviously, it's Ganondorf. But the question I want to ask y'all is, who do y'all think it is? I'm leaning towards either Matt Mercer or Patrick Syetz. Let's throw it over to NintendoFanGirl. Do you have any idea who you think is that voice?
I have no idea. I think I've seen a lot of people saying Matt Mercer, and I'm willing to believe that. Although I do want to say I would not 100% put my eggs in the basket of it being Ganondorf, because I think there is the possibility. No. Listen. I think that
I have listened. I've listened for years.
That there is. I mean, I wouldn't want this to be clear. I would prefer it to be Ganondorf, but
right.
a sorcerer, a entity of some kind that is working to bring Ganondorf back at a point in time. It's happened in multiple other games, so I just want to throw it out there. That
would be disappointing, because I feel like it just sounds like how I imagined Ganondorf always sounding.
Yeah.
Like when he said those lines, I was literally imagining how he looks at the end of Ocarina of Time, like when he holds up his fist, like with the Triforce on it, give your powers to me. Like, that's just like the voice in my head. So I don't know who the voice actor is, but he really nailed it, in my opinion.
I am very much team sexy Ganondorf. I would love to see that.
Yeah, no, I need beef. I need some meat on his bones. I'm so ready for that, because I keep bringing this up. Everyone's like, oh, sexy Ganondorf. Yo, why are you describing him like that? And I'm like, yo, in the book, in the concept art for Ganondorf in Ocarina of Time, they specifically said to draw Ganondorf with strong, supple muscles. And I'm like, that's what I need to see in Tears of the Kingdom, 100%.
Exactly.
Right?
Make it happen. Come on, Nintendo.
I believe. But in that sense of the argument of like, is it Ganondorf? Is it not Ganondorf? I'm like, I agree with Minish in like, that's how I hear Ganondorf. I was literally talking on multiple podcasts before this, like when he's like, eliminate this kingdom and her allies. Like when he said that, I just imagine Ganondorf like swishing around a cup of wine while he's saying that. I'm like, bro, that's him. Like, but
that's my sexy Ganondorf.
And going off what you said, NintendoFanGirl, about maybe if it's an envoy or offshoot or someone trying to revive Ganondorf, or the body that a lot of people want to argue is Ganondorf. I mean, we kind of already got that in Breath of the Wild. Like Calamity Ganon is the envoy, and we gave that thing the business. So, I honestly believe it is 100%.
I hope you're right. I hope so.
Yeah.
Time for him to come back.
Mm-hmm. So, Minish, what about you when it comes to voice actors, possibly for Ganondorf's voice when what we heard from the trailer? You have any idea?
No, I'm kind of with Nintendo Fangirl. I mean, I don't know the voices that have been suggested enough to know if it would be them. I
Gotcha.
mean, that's my. Any guess is as good as that, I guess.
No worries. But what about you, Philly? Do you have any idea who it could possibly be in terms of voice actors?
I felt Matt, man, when I heard that voice. I'm like, it's got to be Matt Mercer.
Gotcha. You know, I like going back to like Matt Mercer's own previous works and whatnot. I definitely get it. He has the capability to do so. But for me, like at certain points when in Ganondorf's dialogue, he had this like really like throaty, bellowy type voice to it that is that I've heard of many times when it comes to Patrick Science's work as either Dio or Jiren, and like among other things. But I guess we'll have to wait and see, because it's funny. Other than the English and the Japanese voice work, a bunch of other dubs have already confirmed their role as, you know, this person. They refuse to say Ganondorf, which really, really burns me up. But they're like, yeah, I did that voice. And I'm like, but who is it? I don't know. What do you mean? Right? So, ending off that note, we're going back to PhillyBeatzU. What was your favorite part of Tears of the Kingdom from the Nintendo Direct?
My favorite part was when we went to that panel where you saw things mining. And when you heard the mine click, you just heard the sound of the underground and how far that echo went. And then you look around and then you're like, wait a second, I can see more than a closed off section. It was an open underground. And I was like, wait a second. So it's not just going to be for cutscenes. There is actual underground activity happening here. There was spirits on the floor. Dude, there's so much of that underground. I'm like,
yes, I want to talk about the spirits.
yes. Oh,
all right,
so good.
There we go. We have our next subject. Thanks, Philly. But let's talk. I want to talk about that. I want to talk about that underground a little bit, because you guys don't understand how hyped I was for that. Like, not only the concept of the underground, but finally the hard confirmation, because it's been alluded to in previous trailers multiple times. Well, it was never really like hard confirmed. It's like, hey, Link and Zelda are underground in the first trailer, but we didn't see any. Like, it wasn't any gameplay. It was just more of like an exposition trailer, and it was always like hinted in the second and third trailer. But finally, as Philly said, we got the hard confirmation of underground, and we see it multiple times in different areas in that trailer, in that same trailer, and that place was expansive. You see mushrooms for trees, you see dead trees, you see this weird bark that has like a core all the way in the background, and it acts as a light source, and you see another one of those even behind that, and like the mining patterns for some weird reason on that rock that the goblins were mining on somehow has like zonai swirls. How do rocks have that? And of course, the spirits, which a lot of people argued is like, oh no, what are you talking about? That's just the aesthetic of the underground. Like, no, it's only in one spot. It's only in the one spot that they're gathering.
Yeah, it's something.
Yep. So
I think the underground, it's like a nice contrast to, they focus so much about the sky exploration and how much, you know, there's going to be sky islands. It's really nice to know that there's also going to be that total juxtaposition of underground too, because there really weren't any caves or things like that in Breath of the Wild, and I know that was one of the things that people missed, and so I think now we're getting both. Like, it's so cool.
Man, I'm so excited, honestly. But I know you guys want to talk about spirits for a little bit, right? So let's get into that. The only spirits, or the only type of afterlife, I would say, representation in Breath of the Wild was the spirits of the champions and the King of Hyrule, and that's it. And funny enough, the way those spirits are portrayed is very similar to the way how spirits are portrayed in Twilight Princess. But now we have these flickering flames in the underground, which, you know, within the underground itself, in other shots of the trailer, we have luminous stones. Luminous stones are connected to that of like spiritual energy, afterlife type energy, whatnot, which, by the way, is also the eerily green glow from the Twilight Realm, but we're going to talk about that later. The fact that we're getting spirits, either positive or negative spirits, or like all these additions in Tears of the Kingdom, has me so excited that, you know, we're finally gonna be messing around with this on a grander scale outside of that of the world of Hyrule that was introduced in Breath of the Wild, right? Which even suggests that are we gonna have a sense type function like we did in Twilight Princess in order to see what these spirits are, or are these spirits gonna manifest as pose and then they're gonna have to like fight them alongside all the other enemies that we're getting in Tears of the Kingdom? So let's talk about that a little bit. I'm gonna throw the ball over to Nintendo Fangirl first for this. So how do you feel on the whole concept of spirits and the underground in Tears of the Kingdom?
So the spirits thing gets me really hyped for like the most negative way possible, because I feel like I've been craving that really dark Zelda feeling to come back, and that's what the spirits signify to me. That like kind of that dread feeling that you get when you're playing Twilight Princess and you realize that like, oh, there's people like in this Twilight realm that are horrified and don't know what to do. Or when you're playing Ocarina of Time and you go your time skip and there's Redeads hanging out in the courtyard of the castle. Like that
Good point.
feeling, that's what I want to come in Tears of the Kingdom. And I feel like that seeing those spirits makes me excited, because that's how I'm gonna feel if they're people. If they're people from Hyrule.
Dead people.
If they're dead people from Hyrule.
I
It
mean,
kind of is like in Twilight Princess when they were like little floating.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they can be saved. Who knows? But
No, die.
That's
Like,
what I'm
what?
hoping.
Give me some mini quest from the dead people.
I'm hoping that what.
Ooh, that's good. I
That's
like that.
interesting.
Zelda fan here.
No. Can you imagine a quest where it's like, oh, I was eliminated when Ganondorf did his first sweep, right? And then I left my daughter behind. Can you give her this?
I was just thinking that, like, my daughter's
right,
still
like,
alive.
gosh.
and then
That would be so good.
yo, and
The
that
heartbreak.
and that's and that like, oh my god, guys, what if those things are the Tears of the Kingdom?
Maybe.
Like
Oh my god.
a
It's
lot
all
of
the
a lot,
fallen.
yeah, all the fallen, and that the only way for them to move on is to do their quests so that they can move on to the afterlife, so they can like pass on in peace. It's like, oh, I no longer have any regrets. Thank you, bro.
That's dark.
I mean, think about how many people died in the 100 years.
we
leading
didn't
up
have.
to- right.
Oh
Have we
my
seen
god.
Anybody else? Have we seen anybody else in any of the trailers? Any other people?
No.
No.
Nah, everyone's dead. They're flames.
Yep.
Oh.
Yo. You know who's gonna be the first one to smoke? Who, you know, I keep saying this, and now I'm getting more justification from these trailers. You know who's gonna be the first one to die? Cass.
Hurrah. Oh.
No, not Cass.
Oh no.
Yeah, Cass. He's gonna be the first one to die. You know why? Because he knows too much. Man. Oh,
So
boy.
sad. No. Then we won't have any beautiful music.
Nah, and no, what are you talking about? He gives you the accordion, and then that's
Oh,
gonna
okay.
be the music item, and that he's gonna leave his daughters behind, and his wife's gonna be a widow.
You have to make it worse.
You're gonna hear the music and then just see a flame.
Oh no.
That's so sad.
Yeah, like you're gonna hear the music and get so excited and follow the sound of the accordion.
What am I saying, you guys? Like, Monolith Soft is assisting development of Tears of the Kingdom. Bro, we're gonna have to, like, send off people just like how we did in Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Man.
Monolith Soft does not play. That's true.
That I'm telling you. It's gonna go down. It's
They
gonna
make
go
you
down.
question life.
But that's a really good idea on like how the spirits could be integrated and whatnot. And another idea, man, I don't know if Nintendo's gonna be this ambitious, but I mean, like, imagine that certain like take a cue from Persona a little bit, where certain spirit missions have timers, and if you don't complete it within a timer set, then instead of completing the mission, the spirit gets really vengeful and then turns into a Poe.
Oh.
Oh, that I thought they
That
might
would
have been
stress me
posed.
out.
My first thought was that those little floating spirit things were posed, just like a
It could
signify
be.
that there's a Poe there.
Right?
There were so many though. Like the placement was odd. So it'll be
Right, there was a
interesting to see.
lot. Like, you know, and they're awfully small when you think about it. So, like, that kind of gave me the idea that they may have been broken up and split up, and that they might reconvene and reconverge into like a bigger spirit or whatever. And like that could be like going off that idea a little bit, because we have to move on to the next topic, because we've been talking about spirits for a little bit. Like, you know how they were like the bokoblins and Lizaflos were like mining something? What if those spirits were like a group of miners that they just got slaughtered. And then they're like, oh, move out of the way, old man. And then the bokoblins just like moved in on that.
And they have to just watch. So sad.
Yep.
And they're stuck there because that's where they died, in the underground.
Right. Oh, God. Man, this game is about to be... So let's throw the ball over to ForestMinish. Like, what do you think about the whole concept of underground and spirits and whatnot? Because I know we've been talking about it a lot, but this is a good topic. So what do you think?
Yeah, like I said, I mean, I think my first thought is that they are posed and like will come together to form like a bigger enemy. It's just another enemy. But now you've got me thinking about all these other possibilities and how it could maybe tie into the story. And I think that it almost sounds like that could help with the title. Was it Philly? Did you say that? How those could be like the Tears of the Kingdom, or maybe you said it, HMK?
Yep.
You know, that all of these people died and maybe you're trying to avenge them and their last wishes, and like you're kind of collecting their spirits. And remember those little vials that are on Link's the side of Link's pouch? You can see them. They're like kind of filled with like the vessels or whatever. Aren't they called Tears of Light in Twilight Princess or something?
Yeah.
anyone
Tears
remember?
of Light, Sacred
Yes.
Tears, Tears of the Goddess, like in Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword. Yeah.
Yeah, because it reminded me
returning-
of that, and I feel like it could be related in some way. I don't know. The underground. I just feel like I'm so excited that it's going to be a playable aspect of it, and like Philly said, it looks expanse.
Great.
It's going to be awesome.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be grand. I mean, damn, we've been talking about the underground. Like, you guys don't understand how badly I wanted the underground in spirits and all that type of stuff in it. But let's throw the ball over to Philly to round out the idea on the undergrounds and spirits. Like, Philly, what do you got? I've heard of a lot of what you said, but you got anything else?
For that, right? I mean, I'm still trapped. When it comes to the underground, I feel like this is a great way to surface out of the underground here. You know those big tower things with the lights coming out of it?
Yes.
I feel like those are digging sites, and that's what leads you to the underground.
Oh.
Ooh, yep, I believe it too. Oh, I have something to segue off of your thought. So I honestly believe the one segment within the trailer where it shows a bunch of the Guardian arms coming out to Link and he's standing on a pad, right? One of those arms, the arm directly in front of him, at first I thought that was a coil. No, that looks like what do you call them? A wiring holder. So if that is inside of that tower, and then the Guardian's like, okay, Link, time to dive, right? Grabs them and then attaches a wire for him to dive into the underground from there. And then that's how you get back up.
Oh.
That's exactly what I was thinking
That
when I
is
saw
what
that.
looks like. Now that
Yep.
you say, I was like, is it on microphone? Is it? Yeah, no. Now that you say
Yeah,
it,
that
that
makes
is what that
sense.
looks like.
Yep.
Did that look like that was in the Yiga hideout to you guys?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Or
could
they
see
had
like the
presence
red
there.
curtains.
Right. It did a little bit, but then I looked at the iconography around it and it was still like Sheikah stuff. So I mean, like maybe
Right. Yeah, there was. Yeah.
yeah.
Uh,
Maybe they
But
busted
whatever
down
it
stuff.
is, I really think whatever that room was not something bad.
Yeah,
It was
definitely not.
Definitely like a
Mhm.
fun cutscene that they just.
Which is
snuck in.
odd because normally the Guardian stuff, like it goes to show that maybe those Guardians are back on the people's side after, you know, they've
they're
been
just-
attacking us.
Just using their arms for new tech.
Right.
Right. I feel at this point in Tears of the Kingdom that Guardian tech or Ancient tech or Sheikah tech is going to be on our side for the most part, or if not, blown up, right? Because I feel that Ganondorf is going to realize that Avenue is does not work as well as he wanted it to, because it's like, okay, as Calamity Ganon, I took over the whole Sheikah thing, didn't work out, whatever. Instead, I'm just going to empower my minions. I should have done that from the beginning. And that's why, you know, the bokoblins, the Lazaflos, Redeads, you know, Boss becomes all get empowered by this new redder Malice. So I think that's the avenue he's going with. So either Guardians are going to be mostly on your side, or that if Ganondorf still had like a type of hold on them at any point, which I doubt, because when you beat Calamity Ganon, the Sheikah pillars turn back from pink to blue. He was like, oh, maybe he destroys them. Maybe that's why we don't see any Sheikah towers, or the Sheikah towers converted into watchtowers because they probably got busted up or something. That's the avenue I think he's going down, and then whatever Sheikah tech survives from Breath of the Wild into Tears of the Kingdom is going to be friendly stuff.
Right. Makes sense.
Mhm. And going off of that, because right now we're at the 27-minute mark, we're going to go back to Tears of the Kingdom, ladies and gentlemen, but now let's segue over to overall Nintendo Direct stuff. All right, so I'm going to throw it over to Philly first for this one. now that we're not talking about Tears of the Kingdom, what was your favorite thing at the Nintendo Direct other than Tears of the Kingdom?
Other than Tears of the Kingdom, okay. I feel like, well, I was saying my bingo card definitely got filled up this time. I think the big surprise was the Samus game coming out. I think the big thing was like, hey, these games are out right now. Like, I wasn't expecting that many demos and games to be revealed like right after and available. That kind of threw me in for a loop. That Samus one was big.
Oh yeah, I just like, it just goes to show, and I keep saying this, that Nintendo has this weird strategy now where they just make these big games or these big remasters, and they just keep them in their pocket for like forever, and they just either drop them a month, 2 months, or even shadow drop them once they announce it. Like Metroid Prime Remastered, that was such a big deal. And this, I hate that they're using the word remaster, because the assets that have been made for this game is like completely from the ground up. They've added stuff in terms of like reflection, refraction, fires, new assets in terms of the buildings and whatnot. Like, it's like a completely, almost a complete overhaul. The only thing that's left intact is how the game functions, but everything else is like new, right?
It's crazy.
So I mean, like, remake, bro. Like,
and I think besides that, the other thing that got me, I mean, the most hyped, because sometimes when I'm not a Zelda tuber, I'm a PokeTuber, but it was it was a poober. The Game Boy and the Game Boy Advance reveal during the Nintendo Direct.
I screeched.
That was huge. That was like the biggest thing ever. And the fact that they even like showed at least one Pokemon TCG game there, I was like, wait a second. You know what that means? They got a Pokemon Direct coming up. It's all connected, bro. So I was like, I sat back. I'm like, okay, Pokemon games are coming.
You said, you know what that means? The first thing that came to my mind, you're like, you know what that means? Pokemon Direct. The first thing that came out is like, you know what that means? Online, and you're getting the business. I'm about to smoke you in my Charizard deck, man. I'm about to show you what's up. But honestly, those are two huge additions, and the fact that they both just like shadow dropped, I'm like, all right, now I got stuff to do, man. I've been playing the NSO of Game Boy so much that I still haven't downloaded Metroid Prime, and I should probably do that tonight, right? But now we're gonna throw the ball over to Nintendo Fangirl. Other than Tears of the Kingdom, what was your favorite aspect of the Nintendo Direct?
It's so hard to answer this.
Hey, Philly got two, so you can get two or three.
Well, I'm gonna give a single cop-out answer, which is level 5. So for me, like, obviously I'm super stoked about Metroid Prime remake, and it looks better than I thought it would, so I'm extra super stoked. But like, I wasn't surprised by that. I kind of knew it was coming. And same with like the Game Boy. I didn't know, but I have been predicting that the Game Boy games and Metroid Prime would be coming for the past year or so. Nice. I was very happy to see them finally, but I was completely surprised by all of the level 5 games returning.
Ooh, yeah.
And I'm a huge Professor Layton fan. So like learning that Professor Layton is not dead, to me, is like worth more than every other announcement in the world. I was so happy about that.
Yep. I was like, when I saw that teaser, because man, that was a teaser for Professor Layton, I was like, zooming in, I'm like, oh wait, what's this? And I see that hat, and I'm like, oh, Professor Layton, what? You're not dead? And then it just ends. I'm like, oh, that's a teaser. That is, ladies and gentlemen,
cool reveal.
That's what we call a teaser. Whoa.
Yeah. What I really wanted was Yokai Watch, but now I have slightly more faith that Yokai Watch could be coming in the future back to the States.
I see no reason why not, because Yokai Watch is pretty successful, So
yeah.
I think
they were hoping for Japanese success in the States and never got it, but it didn't. It wasn't.
They wanted Pokemon success in the States, man. Like, nah.
So
no one's ever gonna get that Temtem.
No.
Oh man.
Oh boy. All right. So ForestMinish, other than Tears of the Kingdom, what is your favorite reveal from Nintendo Direct?
Oh man, it is hard to pick one thing. This was a pretty solid Direct. I mean, I really love how Metroid Prime looks. It's gorgeous. I think this is like a great sign for how Prime 4 is going to look. You're right. Remastered is totally like underselling what they did for this. Also, shout out that it's only $40. It's not even a $60 release. I feel like this is amazing that they're gonna get a lot of more people into Metroid Prime because of this. But I also just want to shout out the Sea of Stars is it got its release date and there's a demo that is playable now. I haven't played it yet, but I'm so excited. Any fans of Chrono Trigger or, old school 90s JRPGs, if this game is not already on your radar, oh my god, it looks beautiful. Same composers, Chrono Trigger. I'm so excited.
Oh, man. Like, it's funny how we got Philly talking about Game Boy, Metroid Prime. We all said Metroid Prime. And NintendoFanGirl with level 5, then you with Sea of Stars. Personally, my favorite thing, like, I love, guys, I love Metroid. I love Game Boy. And the Pikmin stuff was really, really cool. But for me, and I know that a lot of people in both my YouTube and Twitch chats already know I'm about to say, that Xenoblade Chronicles 3 DLC! Oh my, all right, wait, okay, all right. Everyone raise your hand. Obviously, I can't see y'all, but I mean, all right. I know Philly hasn't beaten it because Philly is like that. He's too busy playing Pokemon and Zeldas.
Well, I beat the whole thing.
You beat Xenoblade 3?
I'm done. I finished that in 3 days.
Did you beat 1?
3 days.
Yep.
Wait, did you beat 2?
Yep.
Okay, then you're good. All right. I honestly thought you didn't beat 1 and 2. All right, then you're good.
I didn't tell you I was a Xenoblade tuber. What?
A Xenotuber. But Nintendo Fangirl, are you up to date or no?
I'm not. I only beat 1, and so I'm watching the trailer and I'm like, that's Shulk. That's Elvis. I don't know what's going on.
Okay, so all right, then you know about the non-spoiler. All right, so that you're caught up. But ForestMinish, did you play Xenoblade?
Oh, you're gonna hate me. I'm not a Xenoblade person. I haven't played them yet.
All right, you're good. But the reason why I asked that is not because like, oh, are you guys excited? I'm like I was having a conversation with a homie yesterday, and it didn't hit me because I live and breathe Xenoblade up at this point, but it didn't hit me. I'm like, oh wow, that was a really big spoiler. That is a gigantic spoiler for those. Was bad. Yeah, for those that haven't played Xenoblade ever, that DLC trailer was an omega spoiler. I'm like,
oh man.
The only benefit that you would have is if you haven't played Xenoblade at all, then you have no idea what you're looking at.
Which is me. That's me. I wouldn't even know that it's a spoiler.
Right.
Yeah, but I want to talk about it though. I want to talk about it.
You know what's a good non-spoiler that we can talk about though?
What?
For sure? The drip.
Oh yeah, the drip. Yeah, that is some next level drip. I'm like, that all of it looks good. But I'm honestly glad and I'm excited that Nintendo did show off like a teaser, because I was really scared that they weren't, because I mean, like, oh, if they're gonna talk about Xenoblade Chronicles 3 DLC, they're only gonna talk about Wave 3. But they teased Wave 4, and I'm like, this is the best teaser on the planet. You guys don't understand how much of a big deal it is. I'm not gonna go into spoilers, but I'm just gonna say Alvis is a character. Alvis is a character that we haven't seen since 2000. Wait, 2010. That's when Xenoblade Chronicles 1 came out, right? Oh
yeah,
boy.
Yeah. I think.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
And like, but people are like, oh, but definitive edition. I'm like, that's definitive edition. It didn't like it had new content, yeah, for Future Connected, but Alvis spoilers wasn't in there. And I'm like, the fact that Alvis is back, I'm like, oh, let's go, man. So that is my best thing. That's like my favorite thing in the Nintendo Direct, aside from everything else. But I find it funny that none of y'all brought up Pikmin. Y'all don't like
Pikmin looked really good. I'm really excited for that.
Oh, same. A lot of people's been like, freaking out over the
puppy.
Yeah, not only the puppy, but the perspective of the game, because the camera is going to be a lot lower this time, right? Because Pikmin 1 through 3 was always like like a little bit of a top down, but it was like top down diagonally, but basically top down. This one is just like, nah, like the camera is like a lot lower. You can see the sky. You usually can't see the sky when you play Pikmin because of the perspective.
So, looks gorgeous.
Oh, the game looks amazing. And the fact that we have the new perspective, the fact that we have a puppy, and the fact that they are heavily insinuating that we'll be able to explore at night, that's a big deal.
Oh yeah, that last bit was.
That's gonna be scary.
It scared me. Yeah, I was like, oh god, I got a blood moon in Pikmin now.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, Minish, I'm about to go look at your Twitter right now.
I made a Xenoblade joke where
I'm about
I was
to go right
listening.
now.
You know that trend where it was like 10 games about you, to describe you, and then I listed 9 like really universal bad games like E.T., Superman 64, Balan Wonderworld, and then I put I hid Xenoblade
You're
3
so
in there.
mean.
Just to
I see it.
rile
I see
people
it. I
up.
see it. Look at you with the 300
Trolling.
with the 36,000 engagement rate. Nah, you bad. You wrong for that. You're wrong for
I
that.
made people mad. It worked.
Yo, Hotel Mario. Nah, you're wrong. You wrong for that.
It works.
It works. So we've talked about Tears of the Kingdom. We talked about aspects of the Nintendo Direct. We've talked about Xenoblade, Metroid, Game Boy, Level 5, and all these other things. Now let's talk about the aspect, because I want to assume that we all love the Direct, because I thought the Direct was actually one of the strongest like they've ever had. But let's talk about the negativity a little bit, just a little bit, surrounding the Nintendo Direct, and then we're going to end off that segment with something that's going to segue back into Tears of the Kingdom. And what do y'all think about people saying that, oh, the Direct was mid, oh, that the Direct was underwhelming? Well, I personally, like, it was back to back. There was nothing in the show that was weak. But do you guys think that there's anything in the show that was a bit weak, or that we could have seen moving forward into the possibility of Nintendo having more directs, Nintendo going into E3? What say you? I'm going to throw the ball over to Minish first for this one.
Yeah, I actually feel like I am, or at least was, one of those people who said it was kind of mid. It's definitely, I feel like it's growing on me now, like after some time has gone by, but my gut reaction right after it ended was that the majority of the stuff, not everything, but the majority of like the big announcements were just follow-ups on things that we already knew were happening. Like it was just, we knew that Pikmin's coming this year, so there's more information on that. We know that Splatoon DLC is coming. We know that, Advance Wars, it exists. I guess it's coming back now. Xenoblade DLC, Mario Kart DLC, of course, Tears of the Kingdom. Like, a lot of it was just kind of follow-ups on things that were previously announced. Obviously, Nintendo can't control things leaking. Like, I know everybody and their mom knew that Metroid Prime was coming. So, like, that was supposed to be a really big surprise. I felt like was kind of ruined by the fact that it's been leaked for so long. But I think it's also important to keep in the perspective that two things. That one, this is primarily the announcements for the first half of the year. They didn't really go into anything past August, July or August. And then second, that, this is, I hate to say it, but we're kind of winding down on the Switch, and I feel like it's, there might not be so many more huge announcements because we're going to be getting the next hardware probably in the next year or two. So, I feel like keeping that in mind and thinking, well, yeah, we knew about a lot of these things already, but they're all really solid announcements. I feel like it is growing on me.
Right.
As a couple days have gone by.
And going off that point where you said the possibility of like Nintendo winding down, especially since we haven't seen anything past July, and that we could maybe get the next piece of hardware next year, I honestly am like, I'm not in that boat at all, like at all. I really don't think we're gonna see the next hardware following the Switch. I don't think we're gonna see it for at least 2 more years, right?
That's possible.
Yeah, because a lot of people have been banking on the fact that, it's coming out next year, they're running down. Something tells me that Nintendo is really sitting on a bunch of stuff that they're going to reveal for the Switch for the rest of the year, and that I really don't believe that one report from IGN saying that they're going to skip E3 for said reason. But like the one thing that kind of like made me get this idea is that there's 2 things: the Metroid Prime and the Game Boy Color thing shadow dropping. Game Boy Color and Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance starting out with so many games, and then showing off that they're going to have all these other games coming out for NSO as time goes on, along with the fact that we still haven't got Pokemon Stadium 1 or 2 for N64, shows that they still have an idea of like, trickling content throughout the year on those aspects. And the fact that Metroid Prime Remastered is Metroid Prime 1 Remastered and not Metroid Prime Trilogy Remastered means that they're probably going to do Metroid Prime 2 Echoes and Metroid Prime 3 Corruption with the same treatment leading into Metroid Prime 4's release on the Switch as well. And that's probably going to go on, and they're probably going to string that out for either a couple of like 6 months to a year leading into Prime 4's release next year, hopefully. And that's what I think that, like, you know, a lot of people expect. And the fact that the Zelda, like, I'm 100% sure that the Zelda Switch OLED is real now, considering that all of the markings on the collector's edition has basically lined up with that leak. So if we're gonna get another Switch OLED model this late into, you know, the Switch's supposed lifespan, and in May, before May, or after May, before or after the release, or whatever, it means that they're still pumping out these Switches, and I don't think they're going to be focusing on the next hardware, like, in the foreseeable future. And when I say that, I mean within the year or within 2 years, right? So I honestly, I'm not in that camp, and I think Nintendo still has a lot left in the tank for this, you know, little console that could. But I'm gonna throw the ball over to Philly now. What do you think about, you know, the aspects of this Direct possibly being mid or missing anything, or the fact that, like, oh, a lot of the stuff was pretty repetitive going into only as far as July for this year? What do you think?
I felt they set up the expectations exactly how it should have been, because the Direct kept saying, hey, we're focusing on the first half of this year.
Right.
So when I think of that, I know in our heads we're like, oh, Mario and all this other stuff, we wish to see it, but we know their big launches and their big stuff besides Tears of the Kingdom, which we already knew about, is going to be, you know, they're going to go for holiday stuff later on, and that's going to require a whole nother Direct. So I wasn't expecting anything crazy, but a lot of fans from different fan bases ate good.
Oh,
Everyone got a piece of something, mostly from this Direct.
Mm-hmm. You know, like, it was very, like, strung up and very, like, what's the word, broad in terms of what they showed off. Because I remember the joke. You guys remember the jokes from the last Direct where it's like, oh, that whole Direct was just farming and RPGs and farming and RPGs and farming. Like, literally throughout the whole Direct, I had a chant up on Twitch where people were just like, oh, another farmer, stop farming. Like, every time we see, like, a farm or a pickaxe or a shovel, it's like, stop farming, stop farming, stop farming. So compared to that, this Direct definitely had a lot more appeal across the board. But I feel that, like, I'm not gonna say it shoots it in it's Nintendo shooting themselves in the foot, because I mean, people need to have an idea that, hey, this Direct is trying to please as many people as they want. If they were to focus like too much on Zelda, focus too much on Metroid or whatever, then a lot of people won't get the answers to the games that they want to play specifically, right? So I'm glad they tackled, like, they covered a lot of ground with this Direct. And within that ground, there's a lot of things for someone like me to enjoy. There's a lot of things for someone that's into, you know, style savvy. They got that fashion thing, right? Which is basically a lot of people saying the style savvy 5 due to the developers. So that's good that there was a lot, you know, to cover in this 40-minute Direct. Now, ending off this point, we're going to throw the ball over to Nintendo Fangirl on the idea on this Direct possibly being mid, or not having enough stuff, or not having enough of the good stuff. What do you think about that?
My username's Nintendo Fangirl, so I never call a Direct mid. But I mean, to me, this was a pretty top tier Nintendo Direct. I think
agree.
There were very few times that I wasn't interested in the game that was being shown. If I could complain about anything, it would be, Nintendo, please stop using music that's going to get me DMCA'd.
Thank you. Oh my god. Yes, I know exactly the track you're talking about. Like Candy Kush or something. And then, like, you know what's funny? That track is royalty free, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? Why is this happening? So, like, honestly, I don't blame Nintendo. I blame the algorithm. Because, like, it's not Nintendo's fault, because they're using a royalty-free track. Stop claiming it. That's fraudulent claims. I hate it here.
It's a nightmare. But aside from that, I think I went in expecting there to be more Tears of the Kingdom. And I'm okay with the fact that we didn't get it, because it means we're going to get a dedicated Direct in the next month or two.
Yep. I don't know about dedicated Direct, but definitely more information, like a string of promotion, or maybe even a treehouse. And, you know, PAX East this year. I'm just saying, I got my ticket. It'd be nice. It's gonna be nice. It's gonna be nice. Like, I was there in 2020 where they had Final Fantasy VII Remake, and they had the Animal Crossing New Horizons booth. People can do it. Developers can do it. Companies can do it. Like, what other game? Like, Nintendo's not gonna skip PAX East. What other game are they gonna be talking about or showing off at the event? Hell, if it's not playable, but they have that big, like, photo booth, if it's just a photo booth with no type of gameplay, I'll take that. That's a W for me. And,
I'll take it. Yeah, that's
you know,
fine.
I'll buy all the shirts. I'll buy all the pins. Listen to I will throw
Right.
like I know you're watching. I will throw the money at you for all the Tears of the Kingdom's exclusive PAX East merchandise. I'll buy all of it. I'll buy multiple copies of it, please. All right. So going off of that, back into Tears of the Kingdom to round off this stream, we do have to talk about a little bit of the elephant in the room, and a lot of people has a lot of opinions on it, but we have to talk about it. Ladies and gentlemen, $70.
Bum, bum, bum.
Bum bum bum. I'm gonna throw the ball over to Philly first on this one. So
Ooh.
$70. How are we feeling on that?
Okay. Oh man. Well, there was a funny meme going around. It was like it was showing Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and how that game was $60, but so underperforming
Yep.
with so many glitches. And then you got a game like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom that they're just. I mean, well, Tears of the Kingdom is basically Breath of the Wild plus way more, right?
Yep.
We got sky stuff going on. We got underground stuff going on, and
Yeah.
who knows how expansive this stuff is. I feel like a lot went into the development of this game. It's going to be huge, and maybe the price hike is because of how big it's going to be.
Right. And I'm gonna give all y'all pieces first, and then I'm gonna get to mine. So that's what Philly thinks on the $70. Nintendo Fangirl, what do you think about Tears of the Kingdom being $70? MSRP.
To be clear, I would probably pay $100 plus. I mean, I already got the $130.
Same.
We all played. We all paid.
Yeah, we all
Yeah,
did.
we all got the collector's
So,
edition. Yep.
To be clear, but I think the reason $70 hurts, even if it may be justified in some ways, even if we'll just say that, the reason it hurts is because what it means is Nintendo's testing the water for essentially increasing the prices on other games going forward.
Oh, and that water's gonna feel nice because
Yeah,
everyone's
and
gonna
you
buy that
know
game. Yep.
It's going to sell just fine at $70. So I think the other thing that's interesting about this is it's going to really push people to use those Nintendo game vouchers for
Yep.
the $50 digital. So I think
That's a good point.
a lot of this might actually just be trying to push people to digital purchases. So it's interesting in terms of like social engineering and seeing what people end up doing, but I don't think it's going to hurt sales. It's just going to make some.
Oh,
sad.
absolutely not. I don't think it's gonna hurt sales whatsoever. It's just that my opinion and perspective is like I'm buying it begrudgingly, but I'm buying it. And if you guys don't know about that, because there's still a lot of people. So for those in YouTube chat and those who are on Twitch chat, if you're not feeling the $70 price tag so much, and you're planning on getting on digital, you can cheese that price technically by buying the Nintendo vouchers, which is $100 along with 500 gold coins, and they will give you 2 vouchers for like any voucher eligible game, and Tears of the Kingdom is one
Really,
of them.
most first-party games.
Mhm.
Right. And technically, if you do that, then you'll be buying Tears of the Kingdom for $50, but you'll have to pay $100 to get 2 vouchers. So that's the give and take to the whole schmozy.
Time
of that.
it with the game. Time it with the game you want.
Yeah.
I mean, they're good till the end of the year, so any games that haven't been announced for the second half of the year would probably be eligible too.
Oh yeah, definitely. So to round that out, and before I get to what I think about the $70, ForestMinish, what do you think about $70 Tears of the Kingdom MSRP?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody likes paying $10 more than what we, would expect. I don't really want to defend it too hard, but I think that we are pretty fortunate that this didn't happen a long time ago. I remember paying $60 for games years and years and years ago, and I know there was a lot of talk on Twitter about this, with discussion about the economy and how inflation has impacted the price of so many things, and really games hasn't been touched by that over the years. And I am surprised that Nintendo is going there before the next console generation.
Right.
But they pretty much made it clear that this isn't going to be the standard for their first party games. Like Pikmin's not going to be $70. Obviously the Metroid Prime Remaster is $40. So like Philly said, I think that, a game this huge, the $70 makes sense. Nintendo just announced that their employees in Japan are getting a 10% salary increase. You know, if
Yeah.
they're gonna charge me an extra $10 for Tears of the Kingdom for that to happen, I'm all for that. Like, I was gonna buy the game anyway. I don't think it's really gonna hurt the sales, to
Oh
be
yeah,
honest.
absolutely not. And I agree with it. It's not hurting themselves because everyone like it's seriously the kingdom. People who are dead set on buying it are gonna shell out the extra $10. But those are all very very interesting perspectives, and I agree with y'all opinions on that stuff. Now here comes what I have to think on the whole idea of $70, right? And like, sure, Tears of the Kingdom could possibly be packed to the brim with content, like something that we probably can't comprehend with the trailers that we got so far, especially considering how big Breath of the Wild is, right? So if it's bursting at the seams with content, sure. But there's other games like bursting at the seams with content that I paid $60 for, including that of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, right? That game is just like the game that keeps on giving. Now, here's the thing with the $10 price increase specifically for Tears of the Kingdom, because I paid $70 for games because I own a PS5, right? And then Elden Ring was $70 on the PS5 version, and that game, that's a game that's bursting at the seams with content. That game just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and I'm like, bro, bang for your buck. And I'm a big believer in bang for your buck, right? But the big thing with me that I can't, like, I'm gonna buy it. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Can I justify it? Personally, I cannot when it comes to a $70 price tag. And you guys already know I grew up on Zelda. I'm like one of the biggest Zelda fans you will ever meet, right? And yes, you can love a series as much as you want. And your love to you personally could justify that price. But I'm looking at a standpoint of a consumer, right? Overall. And I can't wholeheartedly justify a $70 price tag for a game on a Nintendo Switch, right? That is entirely my perspective. Because like Philly said at the beginning of this specific conversation, Scarlet and Violet, I love the game. I do. I honestly think it's the best Pokemon game, but it runs like utter butt, right? So when I'm paying for a price tag when it comes to $70, like people often say like, oh, but you like $70 games on PS5. It's like, yes, because the hardware on the PS5 allows me to get a game that performs at its utmost highest, right? The Switch, I am telling you right now, if any of y'all are thinking that Tears of the Kingdom is going to run anywhere beyond that of 30 frames per second, you are out of your mind, right? So for a game console to have that type of power that cannot run at a stable 60 frames per second, 1080p, like all the way through, a $70 price point, that's something that I don't roll with completely. So that's my take on like the $70 thing.
That's why I'm surprised that they're doing it before their next console. Like I thought they would go there, but I just didn't think it would be this early. And you know, I think for at least for me, a $10 difference isn't huge, but to a lot of families, that $10 difference could be the difference between getting their kid a game for Christmas or not. And you know, I think that is significant because you know I didn't grow up wealthy. Like if games were, you know, a little bit more when I was growing up, maybe I wouldn't have gotten, you know, the ones that I had wanted for Christmas. And I think that might be the case for a lot of kids this year.
Right.
Yeah, I had actually, when the rumors had started, I made a comment that I didn't think that they were true until we saw more. And the reason for that is because Nintendo carries a lot of power with their decisions like this. So now that they've kind of blessed that a $70 price tag for a Switch game is okay, there are third parties that might look at that and think, all right, okay, when I work really hard on a game, I now can get away with charging $70 on Switch. But also, when it comes to, this gets into the weird social engineering stuff too. When it comes to families who are shopping, who don't know games that well, don't know what they're purchasing, and they're looking at their options and a retailer, whatever it is, and they see one that's $10 more, that's not the one that they're going to reach for unless it's what they were going there for.
Exactly.
So it's very, like, it's not going to work with a lot of titles besides Zelda is the good news. But
and I don't think they will make a lot of them 70. I think it'll be Zelda. If we get a Mario game later this year, it'll be Mario. I can't really think of too many more games. Yeah, Metroid Prime 4 will be. I can't think of too many games that'll hit this $70 mark. I think it'll really be reserved for their most their biggest, most excellent titles.
Right. And I do get the argument that like, oh, with $70, if Tears of the Kingdom were to really have the amount of content that a lot of people are thinking it is, then like retroactively for me as a person, would probably look back on it fondly and be like, okay, $70 for this is a lot of content. But at the same time, I don't pay for pixels. Like when people's like, oh, 4K, you expecting 4K? It's like, no, not really. I don't pay for pixels. I really don't. I pay for frames, right? I pay for frames and I pay for performance. That's what I'm thinking when it comes to like any type of price hike or whatever. Because like the hike could be so erratic to the point where certain developers like, oh, if Nintendo's doing it, I can do a $70 game on Switch, and the game could have like the most lackluster amount of content either, but like, oh, it's justified because people saw and bought Tears of the Kingdom for that price.
Yeah, I don't think any game could get away with this, to be honest. I think this is very calculated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. And I do get it. And then like you said earlier, Minish, the price point really can be for a lot of people like the difference between picking up a game and not. And I really hate the argument whenever I see someone online where it's like, oh, why are you complaining about $70? You ain't got the money. I'm like, listen, I got the money.
People don't.
Like I have the money. I can pay for this and I can probably pay for yours too, right? But the thing is, not everyone has the same amount of disposable income as the next person, right? And $10, believe it or not, can be a gigantic difference. Right. So when it comes to Nintendo trying to like, maximize the profits for a game that they probably dipped a lot of money into, I understand it from a business sense and I understand it from possibly a content sense. But when it comes to a performance sense or, like a broad sense of games, the size, the files, whatever on Nintendo Switch, then that's when things get hazy for me.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right. So to round out the conversation, we about have a couple of minutes left. Let's end things on a very, very positive note. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to throw it over to PhillyBeatzU first. Philly, when do you think we're going to see Tears of the Kingdom next in terms of either like a trailer, commercial, or new stuff or new information?
I think pretty much a month before.
A month before? Really? I thought a lot sooner than that. I thought, okay, all right, a month before?
I'm thinking a month before.
All right. I definitely understand. All right. So what about you, Nintendo Fangirl? When do you think we're going to see Tears of the Kingdom next?
I'm going to be really hopeful and really positive and say mid-March so that we get some information before PAX East and then they can go to PAX East and bring it.
100%. Yeah. And not only PAX East, but GDC.
Yeah.
So I honestly, personally, I think next month we're gonna get another thing because like this is the promotional. I feel like the campaign has started, ladies and gentlemen. Next month we're gonna get more stuff, if not more stuff this month. Hey, someone can hope, right? ForestMinish, when do you think we're gonna see Tears of the Kingdom next?
I'm inclined to believe about early to mid-March as well. That's the anniversary of Breath of the Wild is early March.
Mhm.
I think they're gonna leave February. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? You're right.
They're gonna leave February, I think, for Pokemon to breathe. I think February is Pokemon month. The rest of this month we have the Pokemon Day coming up at the end of the month.
Pokemon.
Yeah. So that'll, we're not gonna get anything this month yet. And I feel like April might just be a little bit too late. I kind of agree with what Nintendo Fangirl was saying about leading up to PAX, especially if they do go to PAX. They want people talking about it. And I think that 2-month-ish window is the right amount of time to market a game this big.
Oh yeah, definitely. And man, when you brought up Pokemon, I'm like, man, Pokemon has a lot of stuff to do. Because imagine getting dethroned by Winnie the Pooh. Like, we have to wait and see. Oh yeah, so like the pretty recently, Winnie the Pooh is now the highest grossing media franchise in terms of gross revenue.
I didn't hear that.
Only in terms of gross revenue. Pokemon is still the highest like generating, but gross revenue like against like product production and how much money they're making.
Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, Winnie the Pooh dethroned it. Not so long ago. Yeah, Winnie the Pooh. So, guys, thank y'all so much for coming up to this awesome episode of the Fifth Dimension. Now, before I toss y'all to the wind, once again, I'm going to reintroduce the guests that we had today and let them tell you where they can find you. ForestMinish, let them know where they can find you.
Yeah, I'm ForestMinish on Twitter and Twitch. ForestMinish, go play Minish Cap. You can play it on GBA online now on Switch.
I'm so happy for that. I'm so ready.
Yes. Yeah, go play. I know most people listening here have not played it. Go play it. But yeah, I talk about Zelda and other cool Nintendo stuff. So follow me on Twitter and Twitch. I stream sometimes.
Yeah, you should keep streaming. We gotta get back on GoldenEye.
Oh my gosh, yes, that was so much fun.
Please. All right, but thank you so much for coming up to the show. It was super fun
Thank
having you.
you.
Oh my goodness. Now, Nintendo Fangirl, please let them know where they can find you.
I'm pretty easy to find. I'm Nintendo Fangirl. I'm pretty much everything. Mostly a YouTuber, but on Twitch, I'm just NinFangirl because somebody took my username.
Oof.
Yeah, big oof. But I play everything Nintendo, talk about everything Nintendo. So I do not play well, I do play favorites. I do love Zelda, but I don't put anything down when it comes to Nintendo. So
The
if you're a
correct
Nintendo
favorite.
fan, yeah, that's me. Thanks for having me.
Oh, of course. It was so good to finally have you here. It was so much fun.
Agreed.
Now, PhillyBeatzU. Where can they find you?
You can find me in Hyrule. You can also find
This
me.
cheeser, man.
You can find me on my YouTube channel, PhillyBeatzU, and on Twitter. You probably see me and HMK go back and forth on tweets at each other. So pretty easy to find me there.
Awesome, man. It's always a pleasure. This is the third time you're on the Fifth Dimension. Man, it's always fun having you here, bro.
I love it. 2 more till I'm number 5. I gotta get 5 on here.
Oh, okay, 5. We got 5 for the Fifth Dimension. That's when
That's
we're gonna retire you. Like
That's it. After 5, it's retirement.
yeah. Nah, that's not how it works here. But guys, thank y'all so much for coming out to the stream. Once again, I am your host, HMK. You guys know where to find me. I will hope so. You guys are here, right? But the Fifth Dimension is not only a podcast, but it's also a Twitch team that I run for aspiring up and coming content creators, which I feel will pave the way for the next generation of content creators. So for today, we are gonna go ahead and raid Momo Pokemon, who is currently playing Kingdom Hearts HD 1.5 plus 2.5 remix with a dance pad. So be sure to go and give her your love over here on Twitch. And if you guys are on YouTube, if you want to make the journey on over, I would really appreciate that as well. So guys, already, thank y'all so much for coming out to the stream. And always remember, for the next one, I'll see you guys next week. Be brave, dive deep, and enter the Fifth Dimension. I will check you guys next time. And